This is Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Good afternoon and welcome. I'm Hawa Salihu Adama. The health sector is our starting point today. 3 weeks after the index case of the coronavirus in Nigeria was diagnosed, the number of cases now stand at 12, with 4 new cases reported in Lagos State today, and the federal government taking precautionary measures to contain the spread of the COVID-19 in the country. Some of the measures taken include federal government's suspension of all foreign trips by public officers and civil servants, and a travel advisory to citizens on the same concern. A travel ban on 13 countries with high incident ratio, including the United States of America, United Kingdom and Italy, was also announced by the Presidential Task Force for the Control of the Coronavirus Pandemic. Lagos, Ogun and Ekiti states have placed embargo on religious gatherings for the next 4 weeks, while states like Kwara, Kaduna, Katsina, Kano, Kebbi, Sokoto and Zamfara have shut down schools for 30 days. Anambra joins the list today, and the suspension is indefinite starting from tomorrow. Among other measures, the federal government has also earmarked 1 billion naira to fight the spread of the virus, while the CBN has set aside 1 trillion naira to keep the economy afloat and ameliorate the impact of the scourge. Now to the details. The Lagos State government has suspended all religious gatherings above 50 persons in the state for the next 4 weeks with immediate effect. Commissioner for Home Affairs, Nofiu Elegushin, said this after a closed-door meeting with religious leaders in the state. Over now to Nosa Osula for more.
The decision was reached at the stakeholders' meeting between the state government and religious leaders to control the spread of COVID-19. The suspension, which takes immediate effect, is to last for 4 weeks. The commissioner appealed to religious leaders to take the campaign on preventing the spread of coronavirus to their congregations, noting that the enforcement of the ban starts immediately.
That's part of the reason why we said 50. 50 is still traceable. So if 50 people, the pastor, I know, the pastor of a church, most of the pastors or imams, they know the residence of most of their worshippers, or people that worship under them. So 50, they can easily, trace them and know where they comes from. So I think with 50, we've considered the issue of data before we arrive at the number of 50.
Elegushi called on Lagos residents to maintain a clean environment and report anybody showing symptoms of coronavirus to the nearest health center. In Lagos, Nosa Osula, NTA News.
Meanwhile, as efforts continue to contain the coronavirus outbreak in Nigeria, we are getting feelers from the states on how some of these measures are impacting the public. We have 6 of our correspondents standing by live via telephone. Joy Ken Abakboya is in Lagos, Funke Ibidamiton in Ibadan, and Yemi Dalemo in Ekiti. We also have Taiwo Adeni in Abeokuta, Chineye Ngoye in Enugu, and Shehu Adamu in Sokoto. We will be rejoining our correspondents later, but moving on, contingency plans are on ground to receive Nigerians in diaspora back home amidst COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission is exploring avenues to boost Diaspora remittances for the economy post-COVID-19. NTA Fineface has that.
And you'll be surprised that Nigerians in the diaspora themselves are already having conversations around the next steps to take and the role they will play in all this, even if it is about even providing emergency services. So we're working with our brothers and sisters in the diaspora, mapping out plans, programs on the role they can play. How is it going to affect, for instance, the remittances to Nigeria? How is it going to affect the contributions to their various families? And then what synergy can we have to ensure that they play a major role in all this as we go?
Abike Dabiri Era was there explaining contingency plans to cushion impact of COVID-19 on diaspora investment and remittances. Meanwhile, the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission is building capacity of its staff as the bridge between the nation and its citizens abroad. It's a continuum of trainings to produce needed outcome of non-oil revenue with support from Nigerians in diaspora. NTA Fineface, NTA News.
And President Muhammadu Buhari has directed the repositioning of the economy, starting with a review of the 2020 budget to reflect realities in the oil sector and prioritizing health sector infrastructure to respond to the threat posed by the COVID-19. In a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, the President gave the directive after the second regular meeting of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council, which also recommended securitization of government debt, design and institutionalization of a revenue stabilization program, and the imperative of cutting the cost of governance at all levels. The meeting highlighted immediate and short-term measures to consider and implement in order to mitigate any adverse economic effects and review the coronavirus pandemic and its potential economic spillover effects on the global and Nigeria economy. To the legislature now, the Senate has suspended all its public hearings. Visit to the Senate as its gallery will remain closed. The Senate arrived at this resolution at a closed-door session during which it resolved that the suspension is with effect from Tuesday, the 24th of March, 2020. The new directive is part of measures by the legislators to prevent the spread of the dreaded COVID-19. The House of Representatives had on Wednesday adopted a resolution restricting visitors from accessing the precincts of the National Assembly. The travel ban on 13 countries, including the United States of America and the United Kingdom, as part of further measures against the spread of the COVID-19 in the country, has been commended by guests on NTA's program, Good Morning Nigeria. But they still urge the federal government to do more, given the recent updates of more cases in the country. Butua Mila has that.
First line of defense is prevent. Secondly, detect. And thirdly, handle.
The first line of defense is to prevent before you now detect. These were the words of the Minister of Health, Dr. Osage Ihanire, as he stated that the Ministry of Health is focused on early detection, urging both private and public practitioners to screen properly, isolate and notify any case to the closest isolation center. He also assured that the Health Ministry will use all available resources to make sure that the global pandemic is curbed from further entering the country.
So from day one, we are focused on prevention, early detection. And risk assessment tells us that we are likely to have any case coming through an airport. So if you have been inside your house or inside town for the last 6 months, you are not a likely case, except again you have had contact with a person who has been outside the country.
However, other guests from the medical field were appealing for better collaboration and synergy between the private sector and public hospitals to enable them work together to fight the deadly virus, pointed out the need to make the testing criteria of coronavirus flexible.
I think that maybe federal government should also take cognizance of the fact that 60 to 70% of healthcare in this country takes care in private hospitals. I believe that some move should be made to properly kitting out some hospitals, private hospitals, spread out across the country.
So we need the collaboration on all fronts. So if the CBN is making funds available for this purpose, they are talking about the private hospitals. Private hospitals can acquire more space, build more structures, equip, and then be ready for the battle.
I just personally think that maybe the net of testing should be expanded just a bit more, especially to anyone that, you just have this suspicion.
They also called on more provision and functional equipment and more isolation centers to be set up all over the states and the country to contain the spread of the virus. In Abuja, Butswamila, NTA News.
I understand our correspondents in the 6 different locations around Nigeria are now ready. For me, I have Joy Ken Abakoya in Lagos, Funke Ibidamiton in Ibadan, Yemi Dalemo in Ekiti. I also have Chineye Nwoye in Enugu and Shehu Adamu in Katsina. I will be starting with Funke in Ibadan. Funke, we understand that the American who died recently was in Ibadan for 2 weeks. And we do know that someone who came in contact with him tested positive to the virus. How are people in Ibadan reacting to this news, and has it changed how they are taking measures against the pandemic?
Thank you so much, Hawa. Ibadan is generally calm and people are going about their normal activities. Yes, the industry that was said to have come to Ibadan and spent 2 weeks just last year has been more of a social media thing. The Commissioner for Health, Dr. Bashir Bello, just held a stakeholders engagement recently, and it was decided, it was confirmed that case, actually the foreigner came, spent some time in Ibadan. He received caregiver, but they were both tested negative. So the driver that had a contact with them, they believe must have gotten the coronavirus from another contact. I must say here that there were separate stakeholder engagement talking about the UCH and the Commissioner for Health this afternoon. And the UCH has also discussed rumors that they are treating a coronavirus patient right now. Right now in Ibadan, the situation is that there is one self-isolated, well-suspected coronavirus patient. The person came in and has self-isolated. Right now, the samples have been taken to Lagos. The results are being awaited. So it's still a suspected case. We cannot confirm that it is a coronavirus case. And the Commissioner for Health has also confirmed that right now we cannot say there is a coronavirus case here in Ibadan.
Okay, Funke, I'm going to put you on hold now. I'll put you on hold now and go to Chineye in Enugu. Chineye, how has the news of the coronavirus diagnosis in your state affected the people mentally and socially?
Okay, thank you very much, Hawa. What I'm just said is that the atmosphere will come. The residents are conscious of the spread of the coronavirus, even though there has not been any positive case in the state, except the case of the woman suspected to have contracted the disease, who was tested negative. But people are aligning with the measures by the state government in tackling the malaise through the use of hand sanitizers and nose masks, regular hand washing with running water and soap. But the major challenge now is that some of these materials for the hand and respiratory hygiene are unavailable in most markets in Enugu, and the prices of the available ones have skyrocketed.
Okay, thank you, Chineye. Let me go to northern Nigeria, where I have Shehu Adamu. There was a little bit of a scare yesterday, considering the case that was reported, or suspected case. Shehu, how are people embracing measures to keep themselves safe?
Yes, thank you very much, Hawa. Really, Fatima is very calm with the report, with the new development that the sample taken to Abuja for analysis and further investigation regarding the suspected case of COVID-19 yesterday has been proven negative, really. And the people here in Kaduna are going about their normal businesses and doing their normal activities without any fear. So they are fully informed and enlightened concerning
Thank you, Shehu, for your contribution. Let me now join Taiwo Adeni in Abeokuta. Taiwo, what is the situation in Abeokuta? Is there any panic, any form of panic there?
Thank you, Awa. Allowed to register that Abeokuta is cool and calm. There is no panic at all. People are going about their normal businesses, and that is particularly due to the fact that the state government is working to get on top of the situation, in the sense that the government are taking some measures, which include, placing ban on public gathering that will attract more than 50 people in the same place at the same time. The same ban has been extended to public and private schools across the state. So the people are aware of the situation, though it is not affecting their lives. You go to places that are public, and you see that they are taking measures to ensure that the virus is kept in check.
Okay. Let me join Yemi, who is just close to you in Ekiti. Yemi, could you give us a sense of the situation in Ekiti?
Thank you very much, Awa. Tension has died down in Ekiti following yesterday's announcement by the federal government that a kit was encoded in Ekiti. People are now more aware of what to do, and they have been doing that here in Ekiti. So now things are okay. People are using the hand sanitizer, and they are also taking to the lecture they've been giving on proper washing of their hands, so as not to spread this virus here in Ekiti.
Okay, thank you, Yemi Dalemo. We will now join Joy Ken Abakoya in Lagos. Lagos is highly cosmopolitan, and it seems to be the epicenter in Nigeria. Joy, how can you describe the mood of the people in Lagos?
Thank you, Howard. Lagos here, a majority of the cases are here in Lagos, so it is normal for locations to be a bit worried. People are a bit worried here, but there is no panic, I must stress that. People are going about with caution. Hand sanitizers are now part of your dressing here in Lagos. The culture of frequent hand washing is absolutely workplaces, especially financial institutions, now have hand sanitizing machines at their entrances, and schools and religious places are beginning to shut down in compliance with government ban. That's part of the ban, government measure to ensure that the virus is not spread. People are not panicking here in Lagos. Everyone's going about their activities.
Okay, we understand there are new cases. Do you have any update on that?
Yes, I do, Howard. There are 4 new cases, which brings the total cases in Lagos to 11. 9 active, 2 have tested negative, including the indexed case. They run a test on him and negative. Another one will be run soon, later in the day. The 4 new cases include a female who had contact with one of the patients. I think the one that came from the UK. They are all in the mainland hospital now being treated. There's another one who returned from France on the 14th of March on a Turkish airline, and then a male in a kid who has not traveled. The Commissioner for Health stressed that he hasn't traveled and no one knows if he had contact with anybody, any patient with coronavirus. But the important thing here is that right now in Lagos State, the state is following 1,300 contact cases, and this includes passengers on the Virgin Atlantic that came into Nigeria on the 12th of March, the British Airways from the UK 14th of March, and the Turkish Airlines that came in on the 14th of March.
Thank you very much, Joy. This is actually a developing story, so we will definitely be coming to all of you from time to time. Thank you very much, all our correspondents across Nigeria. Moving on now, and still on another latest issue, the reduction in the pump price of petrol from 145 naira per litre to 125 naira per litre, following the effect of the global fall in oil price due to the coronavirus, has been described as a welcome development. While speaking on NTA's Good Morning Nigeria, Experts in the economic and oil sector say this became inevitable to promote the general well-being of Nigerians, particularly those at the grassroots.
If you go to the market, the market woman will tell you, oh, you know, the cost of transport is high, so that's why my goods are expensive. But you're going to see all of that reduce. You're going to see a situation where with the crude prices today, and hopefully it remains this way for some time, the entire industry, the oil industry in itself, will come back on stream. You're not going to have NNPC as the sole importers anymore. You will now have private sector participation, which then translates into job creation.
By reducing the pump price, it is to say that we are also sacrificing this much for Nigerians.
But say, the euphoria of the new development notwithstanding, they expect government to engage critical stakeholders on how to handle the modalities of losses as a result of the pronouncement. And still on the reduction in the pump price of petrol, we now have Lydia Sampson standing by somewhere in the Federal Capital Territory with an update on the compliance to the new directive. Lydia, if you can hear me, you've been out since morning. What is the situation at the petrol retail stations at the moment?
When we went out in the morning, the compliance was kind of limited to NNPC retail outlets. But as the day is progressing, so also is the compliance, both among independent and major marketers. We are at one of the independent markets as a retail outlets in Area 11. And from the board, you can see that it's no longer the old price of 145, but 125. And that is not to say the compliance is 100%, because as we speak right now, NNPC and critical stakeholders are meeting behind closed doors to come up with a harmonized front that will benefit the whole of Nigerians. And one thing I must say, Hawa, is that most of the stations visited that are compliant are recording a large turnout of vehicles. Many motorists we spoke to here say it's simply out of the fact that motorists can't wait to start harnessing the impact of the new pump price introduced by government. In spite of the long queue, however, what I can tell you is that the sale is going on smoothly, devoid of the usual rancor when you have a lot of vehicles in a particular petrol station. As you can see behind me, the sale is just going on smoothly, with everybody anxiously waiting to start benefiting and enjoying the impact of the reduction.
You just said that there is a stakeholders meeting going on at the moment. I was going to ask you what the situation is at the independent marketers, because they most times seem to be the problem.
Yeah, they still are the challenge, however, but as I said, the meeting going on will come up with a common front. But also, most of the independent marketers that visited, because I'm standing right now in one of the independent marketers, and the price has been, they've compliant, and the price is 125 now.
Assurance from the watchdog of the industry, the DPR, who usually monitor situations like this.
Yeah, the DPR didn't come out today to give a position, but the PPPRA went around the city to make sure that they see the level of compliance. And most of the stations visited, even though we had some few resistance, but most of them are fully compliant.
Thank you very much for your contribution.
Thank you, Howard.
Let's now go over to Kaduna, where Abdullahi Mohammed is standing by with a situation report.
Hello.
Okay, I understand we actually should be joining Musa Abubakar in Sokoto. Musa, what is the situation at most petrol retail stations following the news of the reduction in the pump price of petrol in Sokoto?
Well, there's some sort of excitement here, but when we go around today, we discovered that only few filling stations have complied with the directive by the federal government. Most places, when you go, you discover that some of the filling stations are yet to bring down the price of the pump price to 125. And we did visit DPR, and they said that they are yet to receive a circular from their headquarters in Abuja. But generally here there's a kind of excitement with a decision by the federal government to cut down the price from 145 to 125.
Okay, Musa, so you don't have any station in Sokoto that has complied with this directive? Hello, Musa, are you still there?
There has not been any enforcement by the DPR. They said they are to receive a directive from their headquarters before they can start enforcement. But for now, there are only few filling stations around town, which is, I think there are about 3. But the rest are still selling at 143 and 145.
Thank you, Musa. That will be all for now. Ahead in the news, President Muhammadu Buhari inaugurates National Broadband Plan. That will be after this break.
Coming on April 2nd, 2020, in the capital city of Abuja, the Ivory 8 Ball, a life-saving fundraising event featuring music and arts in aid of skin cancer patients with albinism. For participation and sponsorship, call Edidiong on 070-197-73352 or Chinwe on 090-559-61514. This event is powered by Nigerian Television Authority, TV Enterprises, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, FRCN, African Independent Television, and Ray Power FM, Silverbird Television, and Rhythm FM, the Albino Foundation, the Ivory 8 Ball, for a worthy cause. Watch out.
Engineering skills and technology define the quality of television transmission output. Training and retraining of appropriate personnel on the management of modern equipment is therefore a key competition strategy in the dynamic television industry. NTA TV College, Jos, invites relevant desk officers to special engineering courses as follows. 1-week course on audio engineering, operations and maintenance. Date 20th to 24th April 2020. 1-week intensive course on electrical power, earthing, lighting, uninterrupted power supply UPS, inverter and solar system. Date 1st to 5th June 2020. 1-week intensive course on studio broadcast equipment and outside broadcast operation. Date 15th to 19th June 2020. 1-week course on new technologies, optical fiber, IP technologies, automation storage and wireless technology. Date 10th to 14th August 2020. The venue for all courses is NTA Television College near Old Government House, Rayfield, Jos. Course fee 40,000 naira per participant. Accommodation inclusive. For more inquiries, please call 0803-314-4383 or 0806-980-9807. NTA TV College, Jos. Training you to be the best you want to be.
Are you looking for a serene environment where you can relax and feel at home with family and friends? Then search no more, because Liverpool VIP Hotel and Unique Resort is the answer. At Liverpool VIP Hotel and Unique Resort, we have well-furnished standard rooms and suites, 24 hours power supply, advanced security with CCTV cameras everywhere, VIP and bush bar, restaurant with all kinds of African and continental cuisines, assorted drinks, shawarma sports, modern 80-seater conference room. And now, check this out, 30% discount for all rooms and suites for 3 months. Hurry now to Liverpool VIP Hotels and Unique Resort, located at number 4 St. Michael's Crescent, off Tombier Extension, GRA Phase 3, Port Harcourt, River State. For reservation and more information, call 080-6764-0587. Liverpool VIP Hotel and Unique Resort. True hospitality.
Nigerians, coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. live long, live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibility.
Thanks for rejoining us. It's Nationwide on the NTA. 4 critical projects aimed at enhancing the development of Nigeria's national digital economy, as well as supporting efforts at securing the country, achieving self-reliance and reducing poverty, have been inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari. Performing the ceremony at the Mbora district of Abuja, the president said, with the nation's budgetary projections adversely affected by the dwindling oil prices, diversification of the economy is now a matter of urgency. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has more.
The projects inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari were the Communications and Digital Economy Complex, the National Broadband Plan 2020 to 2025, Nigerian Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship Training Program, as well as the Emergency Communication Center and toll-free number 112, aimed at keeping Nigeria and indeed Nigerians safe.
This is President Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. President, you have an emergency?
Without mincing words, President Muhammadu Buhari described digital technologies as indispensable platforms for a safe, secure and prosperous Nigeria.
We have taken advantage of digital technologies to ensure that Nigerians in distress are only a dial away from the relevant emergency response institutions in the country. This will go a long way in supporting our efforts to improve the security of lives and property.
The Digital Nigeria program, the president said, is one of the federal government's key initiatives towards empowering innovators and entrepreneurs with skills required to thrive, thereby making Nigeria an active participant in the global digital enterprise.
It is part of our efforts to ensure that our youth, women, unemployed graduates, and people living with disabilities either become employees of labor or get a large number of well-paying jobs, thereby contributing to the national drive of lifting Nigerians out of poverty.
The federal government, he said, is committed towards ensuring that all stakeholders in the implementation of the National Broadband Plan have a conducive environment to operate, including the deployment of 4G networks across Nigeria.
I therefore urge the mobile network operators to ensure full attainment of the targets set in the plan and to also give special attention to unserved and underserved areas while deploying their services.
Convener of the event and Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Dr. Isa Ali Ibrahim Pantami, described as fulfilling the giant strides recorded so far towards the realization of digital Nigeria.
Broadband is key to our economy. As we all know, the agenda of our boss centers around 3 things. Firstly, security. Secondly, economic development, and thirdly, fighting corruption. At the time that other sectors are in trouble because of coronavirus, digital sector comes on board to provide an alternative for all of us, and that is what we are leveraging.
Highlights of the ceremony was a guided tour by President Muhammadu Buhari of facilities and exhibition stands of various ICT projects, programs, and products. In Abuja, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
To the judiciary now, the Court of Appeal has set aside the judgment of the FCT High Court that sacked Ifeanyi Uba from the Senate, saying the judgment was a nullity. Allowing the appeal to succeed, the Court of Appeal said the lower court erred for not giving the appellant fair hearing, and more so, it lacked jurisdiction to entertain the appeal. And Hengino is next on our lineup from our Lagos Network Center. Hello, you're on.
Hello, Hawan. Thanks for joining us in Lagos.
Sometime in December last year, there was the reported story on the death of a young lady, Maritime, who was stabbed by some armed robbers at the Bagada area of Lagos State and was allegedly denied medical attention by a private hospital in the area where she was first rushed to. But today, there is a lead way to correcting such unfortunate scenario where hospitals reject or request for police reports to accord attention, as the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, is conducting inquiry into how it all went. Tunde Saiki has more.
The public hearing on violations of patients' rights has become imperative following several cases where the loss of life due to medical negligence or the police in trying to observe protocols before armed attacks, gunshot injuries, or even road crash victims are given medical attention. This instance is that of a 28-year-old lady, late Murademu Balogun, whose life was cut short in 2019 when she was attacked by armed robbers in Lagos while returning from work. She was allegedly rejected by the first hospital she was rushed to. The personnel of the hospital claiming they were incapable of treating her and then referred her to another hospital without any referral.
We have to institutionalize certain accident and trauma response procedures, and I think that is something that the medical industry would certainly take on.
These medical experts at the public inquiry noted that at least a first line of medical examination and attention needed to be extended to patients in whatever situation.
But to be able to prevent that death within that first hour, we train our younger colleagues or any doctor who has not had ETLS training to be able to at least support life until that patient can be got to the right facility.
These sort of things, although it's not going to bring back my daughter, but it's going to stem and it's going to stop these sort of things happening again.
The FCCPC panel is expected to come out with a report that will be used as a case study in dealing with such emergencies in future. In Lagos, Tunde Saiki, NTA News.
Let's talk education now. Investing in science education in institutions of learning is pivotal for any nation to achieve success in science and technology, which in turn leads to national development. This was the consensus of guests at the 25th Annual Lecture, Awards of Scholarship and Honors of the Stephen Oluwole Awokoya Foundation. Adeola Komiakere reports.
Bo Ojo and Okpemikpo Paye are among the best 10 graduating students who received the Awokoya Foundation for Science Education Scholarship Award.
I intend to teach young aspiring scientists, especially physicists, on how to apply their core skills.
Equipping myself with the science of food economics and land economics, those resources will be managed better.
Dr. Lai Fatana, Ambassador Lawrence Ekpebu, and Mrs. Catherine Ifejika were also conferred as honorees of the foundation for their immense contribution to nation building.
Anybody with any stigma, we don't call them, we don't honor them.
I think we've been able to get like minds to join us, and that's one of the reasons why we've been around for so long.
He made such a tremendous impact on education, not only within Western Nigeria where he was, but across the country, and he has molded a lot of people.
The 25th Annual Lecture on Epidemiology and Technology, a look at the past and present, justification for modifiers in major non-communicable diseases, Professor Grace Otinwa said was apt, as many Nigerians are dying from preventable diseases, but with regular physical activity or exercise, one's lifespan can be prolonged. The late Professor Stephen Awokoya was the first Nigerian chemistry graduate who rose to become the first Minister of Education in the Old Western region. He was one of the leading architects of a nationalistic policy to promote formal schooling in Nigeria in the 1950s. In Lagos, Adeola Komiakere, NTA News.
That's it from here. It's now back to Hawa in Abuja.
Very well, Hingino, and back here in Abuja, A source which will provide authentic information on all issues concerning military operations in Nigeria has been unveiled by the Defense Headquarters in Abuja. Over now to Najatu Tijani for details.
Fake news, distortion of facts and conspiracy theories. These are some of the challenges the Armed Forces of Nigeria says it grapples with when it comes to communicating its operational activities to the general public. Now it is shifting gear to streamline its channel of communications and narrow it to one source: the Directorate of Defense Media Operations, which is being unveiled via this press briefing.
To be achieved at strategic, operational, tactical, and other levels of our target audiences, in order to create a balanced understanding of our operations and also our objectives.
Additionally, information departments of the military will report to the Directorate of Defense Media Operations, or DMO for short, which will harmonize reports from theaters of command, including controversial issues such as the rehabilitation of repentant Boko Haram terrorists and the success of various operations against armed robbery, banditry, and kidnapping. For positive impact on national security. Najatu Tijani, NTA News.
And Zenret is our guide today from our Jos Network Center. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you too, Hawa, and thanks for joining us in Jos. Motorists in Jos have commended the laudable decision by President Muhammadu Buhari on the reduction of pump price of petrol from 145 naira per litre to 125 naira per litre. Felicia Daliop Samaila is in town to monitor the level of compliance. Felicia, what is the situation in town?
Following the reduction in pump price of petrol as directed by the federal government, we are here at the NNPC mega station Jos to find out the level of compliance to the new order. And with me here, we have the dealer rep, NNPC mega station.
I'm happy that you people follow up immediately. You can see the number of vehicles buying this product here, because when they learn that there is a reduction, everybody focused his mind in NNPC, and quietly when they came, they find out that we've changed. We have changed from 145 to 125. Everybody was happy and they are buying happily.
It's part of sacrifice to the nation. So we are supporting the federal government on the new price.
We also caught up with some motorists who commended the federal government for being sensitive to the needs of the masses.
The government is sensitive enough to reduce, and I'm sure because of the hard economy, Nigerians might see plead for still more reduction.
It's good, but if it will affect our economic, then we will have a setback economically.
Well, it's a good development, right? But I think the more concern is the pandemic.
The fall in price of crude oil in the world market means increase in local price. Mr. President has decided to reduce the pump price of fuel, considering the hardship on the masses. Zenret, it's back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Felicia. Moving on, in line with government's determination at checking corruption at all levels, citizens have been challenged to take ownership of constituency projects located in their communities through proper monitoring. This was re-echoed during a town hall meeting organized by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, and the National Orientation Agency, NOA, for major players in community development in Plateau State. Caleb Guchin reports.
Leadership from these two important agencies of federal government is coming on the heels of efforts by the Buhari administration to fight corruption to its barest minimum. The choice of public enlightenment for key stakeholders to know what to do in monitoring development in their various communities is therefore key, even as the organizers say everything is being done to make public officers accountable.
Importantly, the scope of the exercise has now been widened to include those projects which are and specifically developed and implemented by the executive arm of government.
And you are aware that members of our national assemblies have constituency projects, and these are the ones that we are trying to list. They are some of.
The participants, who are drawn from the various sectors of the economy and with direct contact with the rural populace, commended the ICPC and NOA for a well thought out initiative.
Now we are working a place that we're taking our problems to.
When we eventually elect you and you're going, we give you this in pictures. By the time you're coming back, there is something to evaluate you with.
It was the general consensus that the message would be taken down to the grassroots for proper orientation of the masses to be able to take informed decisions and actions. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA News.
That's it from Jos. It's back to Hawaii and Abuja for more news on Nationwide.
Sure, Zen rights. And moving on, news of an 83-year-old man said to have died in the hands of environmental health officials following his arrest at his residence in Abia State has been raising some dust. Family of the man, whose body was abandoned in a vehicle on the premises of the Abia State University Teaching Hospital by the alleged captors, is demanding justice. Neka Onu has more.
Officials of Aba South Local Government Health Authority on their visits to number 7 Mobani Street, Aba, apparently faulted the sanitary condition. They therefore arrested some occupants of the building, including 83-years-old Fidelis Uwaka, who reportedly gave up the ghost on their way to the local health authority's office. Ogechuku Ezibi was arrested with the deceased.
They have brought the man on the car. 70-something minutes, the man began shaking on that car, began urinate on their cloth. After the urinate, he fell and died on that car.
Late Uwaka's family had pleaded that a younger member be taken in place of their 83-year-old patriarch.
When I came to arrest my father, I begged them to leave the man, but because he's here, he's not well, and he's having heart problem. So I begged them, and they refused. I told them to take me. After my father will come and bear me, they refused.
We, the family, we want justice to be done from the Abia State government.
The allegation that Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps aided the arrest warrants the score. We learned that one of your officials was among the people with them when this incident happened. Are you aware of that?
No, there is no such thing. So rather, you are aware that we have our office in the local government. So when we heard of this, and the health department, their office happens to be at the local government, we have to make sure that we are on ground. If there is any way we can help, which the man was taken to hospital.
Repeated efforts to get an official reaction from the Environmental Health Department of Aba South Local Government Council have failed. In Aba, Neka Onu, NTA News.
And Diba Bare is on standby in our Port Harcourt Network Center for more reports.
Thank you, Howard. Thanks for joining Port Harcourt. The House of Representatives Committee on Navy says it will review the Nigerian Navy Establishment Act to create a template for private sector participation in the security of the nation's maritime sector. This was among top issues considered during a stakeholders meeting at the NNS Pathfinder Port Harcourt. Kingsley Amaju reports.
The House of Reps Committee on Navy tour to the various naval commands and platforms is part of its oversight function. It is to appraise the naval authorities' utilization of funds appropriated to the Nigerian Navy. This engagement would also help the committee evaluate key concerns to relevant stakeholders in the maritime sector towards effective legislation.
We have not seen any institution of government that stick to their own contract specification the way we have seen Nigerian Navy perform. As much as we want our territory to be protected, there is a need for us to provide infrastructure. We have seen a lot of other issues in terms of logistics, in terms of platforms, the jetties are even non-existent.
The need for more infrastructure recruitment needs and the terms of operation for private sector maritime security organizations are issues the committee would be considering. Flag Officer Commanding Eastern Naval Command Rear Admiral David Adeniro was delighted with the visit, hoping that the input from the engagement would help reposition the Nigerian Navy for better service delivery.
The maritime environment is not an environment that is Navy alone. The House Committee on Navy needed to interact with these other agencies to know how far, what suggestion can they make so that the Navy can serve the nation.
The committee, which had earlier visited commands in Lagos and Calabar, left Rivers to Bayelsa State. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
And that's our beat from Port Harcourt. Nationwide will continue right after the break. Good evening.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Some of the girls were having difficulties in their academics, and they now decided to ask us to help out. And we've decided to teach them other things, other skills. To invest in a woman is really to invest in a nation, because the women really are the heart of the family.
Thanks for rejoining us. For several years, it has been tales of woe for residents of Ikot Nkebri community in Calabar municipality, Cross River State, following a gully erosion which has ravaged the community and displaced many families. Achibong Basi takes a look at the ordeal of residents of the area and the remedial work to give the people relief.
With over 100 houses and several lives said to have been lost to the devastation, this is what is now left of a community once full of life and bubbling with various economic activities. This is a Ikot Nkebri community where residents have had nightmares due to erosion ravaged by Four Fingers and the main gully erosion site. After counting their losses, there is a ray of hope for residents with the intervention of the Cross River State government and the World Bank.
We have seen a remarkable improvement in terms of work that has been going on.
The people are here inside. They have done marvelous work for us, but we are so happy.
We plead that to alleviate this suffering of this family that their parents have left them behind, something should be done.
But, like the proverbial Oliver Twist, although they are thankful for the remedial work being carried out to ameliorate their sufferings, the people also appeal for compensation in form of funds to be paid to affected families.
There is a huge chance that this place will be arrested before the heavy rain comes in. If we build in accordance with the building regulations, we are tempted to avoid this kind of calamity.
Things are already put in place to see how those people can be compensated.
The people are making a passionate appeal to the Cross River State government to keep to its part of the counterpart funding in ensuring timely completion of the project to enable residents of the area return to their normal lives. Meanwhile, smiles have returned to the faces of the people following the ongoing project. In Calabar, Chibombasi, NTA News.
And we go straight to Maiduguri, where Abubakar is on standby.
Thank you for joining us, Hawa. As countries across the world continue to take preventive measures in public places against the spread of coronavirus disease, motor parks as point of convergences for large number of people traveling to various destinations across the country, including buying and selling, require proactive steps to keep out the pandemic. NTA News on situation check visited Borno Express Terminus, Maiduguri, a motor park accounting for highest volume of vehicular movement from the state. Mohammed Ibrahim reports.
Motor parks such as Borno Express Terminus Maiduguri are characterized by a beehive of activities involving movement of people and goods from across the country and all walks of life that come with the good, bad or ugly in terms of health implications. On a daily basis, the motor park is center of buying and selling of goods that complement the usual boarding and deboarding of passengers, as well as arrival of goods from all over the country. The entry to Borno Express Station does not boast of any health inspection officers or hand-washing facility or sanitizers, which some commuters noted is of importance to be provided.
A park like this, if there is somebody that has such disease, you understand, definitely it could spread.
The government should just try and organize a team whereby if you're entering the park, they will always tell them to wear a face mask and for us to wash our hands.
The station management on their part and other motorists disclosed that there is awareness among the drivers who, upon any sign of illness among passengers, is reported and referred to the nearest health facility.
We used to sanitize the areas at least bi-weekly. You know, monthly we used to normally doing it, but daily, even now presently, now if you round up, you'll see that we sanitize the areas of this.
Most concerns raised call for preventive measures as put in place in other public places for the safety of the general public. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Ibrahim, NTA News.
Thanks, Mohammed. And that will be it from Maiduguri. Hawa, it's now back to you.
Very well, Abubakar. And next is Sports Update.
The Ministry of Youth and Sports Development and the Turkey